Hey everybody! In my last video, we read the first chapter of Museum Mayhem, and Stormy was unhappily on her way to school for her field trip. Let's see what happens next. Chapter 2, Field Trip Day. "Stormy!" I heard as I arrived at the playground. There was still 10 minutes until the bell rang to start school, and all the kids were outside, enjoying the last few minutes of freedom before it was time to go to class. I looked over to the swing set and saw Cassie Callahan and Gabriela Hernandez, my two best friends. Cassie was swinging gently back and forth. I was amazed to see her jeans didn't have holes in them, and her sneakers were relatively clean, and so was her Arizona Cardinals hat, always worn to the side. I guess she didn't have time to trounce the boys at football yet today. Gabriela was sitting on the bench next to the swings with her gym bag containing her cheerleader uniform and smiled at me as I approached them. "Hey girls," I greeted. I dumped my backpack on the ground and sat next to Gabriela. Cassie jumped off the swing and came to join us. "Ready for the field trip today, Stormy?" she teased. She knew how much I hated field trips. The three of us had known each other since we were in kindergarten. I gave Cassie a sour look. Gabriela just shook her head and brushed her long, wavy, dark hair behind her shoulders. "Cassie," she said, exasperated. I smiled. That's how it always was. Cassie would tease, Gabriela would scold, and I would laugh at both of them. Gabriela was a very prim and proper girl. Her favorite pastime was shopping for new clothes with her mother. She had a real eye for good quality. She wanted to go to college for fashion design and someday have her own clothing line that will be worn by celebrities all around the world. Today she had on a new outfit, a sequin skirt, red top, and pink jacket with sequin shoes. The bell rang and we all gathered our backpacks and lunchboxes and made our way to class. "Time to go, girls," Gabriela said. Miss Chestnut greeted her class at the door in her usual ensemble of a pencil skirt, blouse with a bow at the collar, and cardigan as we filed in and unpacked our things. On our desk, she had placed our morning assignment. Announcements came on. Our school did announcements like news broadcasts with 7th and 8th graders as the anchors. We said the pledge, then lunch options were given, followed by sports, and finally weather. The assistant principal came on and gave his daily words of wisdom. Today's was a quote from Albert Einstein. A small mention of our field trip was given, and the two main anchors signed off for the day. Miss Chestnut took attendance and checked our homework. After we went over the morning assignment, she went over the rules for the field trip again. She was a stickler for rules. One of those tough but fair kind of teachers. Finally, it was time to go. Good, I thought to myself, the sooner we leave, the sooner this is over. Miss Chestnut broke us into 4 groups. She took a group herself and gave each of 3 parent volunteers a group. I was glad to see that at least Cassie, Gabriela, and I were together in Miss Chestnut's group. Maybe this wouldn't be too bad after all. We were each given a clipboard with our assignment and a pencil. 30 questions. Shouldn't be too hard. We got into lines behind our chaperones and headed out to the buses. It was a long 30 minutes to the museum. Cassie, Gabriela, and I had to shout to hear each other over the noise of the other rowdy kids. Gabriela started the conversation by telling us all about the latest issue of her favorite fashion magazine. They did this amazing story on pairing colors for the fall. Cassie and I just nodded. Gabriela went on to talk about what all the celebrities were wearing and something about never wearing orange and green at the same time unless you wanted to look like a pumpkin. Cassie finally took pity on me and started talking about the latest NFL game. Then she started quoting statistics on each of the teams, and I had to wonder how she kept it all straight. Overall, the Cardinals have won 522 regular season games since they started in 1920. The Chicago Bears have won the most regular season games. They have 735 wins. Can't say the Houston Texans are doing very well. Since they started, the team has only won 88 regular season games and lost 120. I just nodded and pretended like I knew what she was talking about. I understood my brother's Yoda speak better than Cassie's football speak. At last we arrived at the museum. The 2-story building was all white stucco with a red tile roof. We filed off the bus, all of us looking around at the beautiful gardens with tall trees, blooming flowers, and statues of Native Americans. We followed the brick-paved pathway into the main lobby and were greeted by the museum's curator, Mr. Demelot. He was standing next to a tall blonde woman in a smart blue skirt suit carrying a tablet. Mr. Demelot looked down his crooked nose at us as we filed in. "Welcome," he said in a nasal voice. "I am Mr. Demelot, the curator here. This is my assistant, Miss Kinzel. She will see that your class has everything it needs to go on their self-guided tours," he finished, looking at Miss Chestnut. Our teacher smiled at him and nodded. "Thank you, Mr. Demelot." He sneered what I thought to be a poor excuse for a smile. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I must get to a meeting. We just had a new exhibit open, and the donators would like to see me." He turned on his shiny black heel and headed towards the jewelry section, where we could see a group of Native Americans in business suits waiting for him. Miss Kinzel stepped forward and began passing out maps to the chaperones and students. "Here are the maps of where our galleries are located, as well as what exhibits they are featuring at the moment. Might I draw your attention to our Southwest Peoples and Arizona's Native Tribe exhibits? They should fit your needs quite well. Let any of our staff know if you have questions, and please don't forget to visit the gift shop on your way out." She nodded and left, heading in the same direction Mr. Demelot went. They've made it to the museum. Stormy still doesn't seem too thrilled to be there. I wonder if she'll change her mind once she gets to see the exhibits. We'll find out in the next chapter.